Hello, this is Robin from Simple Food, Simple Life. Thanks for joining me today in my kitchen. I can always use company in the kitchen, but you never stick around to clean up, do you? Okay. The other day I was watching one of my favorite YouTube channels called Beat the Bush. And he is a very interesting young man, and he talks about a myriad of things. And he's got, I think, a Beat the Bush Tech channel and a DIY channel, etc. He's pretty interesting, and he also talks a lot about, his primary thing is finance. But he was talking about using your food and your resources wisely. And so I thought, I commented on his one of his most recent episodes, and he replied back, and I commented on how I make the most of inexpensive chicken. And so he commented back to me and asked how I do that. And so I thought, well, I think I'll make a video on that and show everybody one of the ways that I save money. So this is what I'm going to do today. I am going to cook some chicken, and these are chicken legs or drumsticks as some people call them. And I'm going to show you how I do that to get the most out of these inexpensive chicken legs. Now these legs were on sale at my local Fairway store for 79 cents a pound, and they came in 5-pound bags. So yesterday I ate a couple for my dinner, and then so I've got just a little under 2 pounds, or excuse me, 10 pounds of chicken legs, and because I got 2 5-pound packages. So anyway, I'm going to show you how I'm going to cook these so that I can get all the meat off of the legs, and also make some bone broth without cooking my meat to death. Well, that sounds like an oxymoron, doesn't it? Okay, without cooking, without having my meat, the chicken, turn to mush. So what I have here is I have my pressure cooker canner. This is the only pressure cooker I have, and so this is the one I'm going to use. It is rather large, but that's fine. I have a lot of chicken in here, don't I? Okay, so I've already rinsed my chicken really well. After I took it from the bags, I rinsed it in my kitchen sink really, really good, and you should do that with all of your chicken. And after you do that, make sure that you clean and disinfect all of your utensils and your sink as well, because safety first. All right. Now, to this chicken, I remembered that I had a bag of frozen bony pieces from a whole chicken that I had cooked at one time. I cut it up, and I saved back all the bony pieces. So they're frozen, but I'm going to put them in there as well, because I know that off of those bony pieces I can get some really good broth. Now, the purpose of this is to make, to get the chicken, cook the chicken so that it comes off the bone easily, and I'm going to be able to take it from the bone, put it in freezer bags and save it, divide it into portions and save it for meals. Now, I will be able to get a lot of meals out of this chicken. Then I'm going to take the bones and the fat and all the other, I'm going to take that, after I clean off the bones, I'm going to put them back in the broth, and then I'm going to put it under pressure, cook it again, and render some good bone broth. And I think you will like how I do this. Okay? All right. So I've got it all in there. I'm going to put in some Himalayan pink salt. Now, I happen to have this, so I'm going to use it. So I'm going to put a couple of tablespoons of that in there. And just to help bring out the flavor. Salt adds flavor. This is I did say that, Himalayan pink salt. So there you go. All right, now then. Now I'm going to cover my chicken. I'm not going to put any pepper or anything in there. I'm going to cover all the chicken with water. And I'm going to make sure that, let's get that in there. I'm going to make sure that it's completely covered. Okay? But that is the important thing. But I'm going to make sure it's completely covered, but I'm not going to put so much water in there that it interferes with the pressure of the... Now that's 4 quarts. I think I'm going to put one more or a partial. Be right back. So here we go. So let's see where this takes us. I think that looks pretty good. Can you see in there? That looks pretty good, don't you think? Maybe a smidge more. You can always go for the smidge. The smidge or the pinch, and on occasion I highly recommend the tad. A tad more, a smidge more, a pinch more, whatever you prefer. Okay, so now we're good. And so now I've got that. I'm going to turn on my heat here, and I'm going to put on my lid. Now, so I'm going to line up my arrow. There's an arrow here that, get you back a little further. You can actually see what I'm doing. Do you like my apron? I have to show you this. My lovely daughter-in-law made this apron for me. Look. Isn't it cute? This is my logo here. Love it. Okay. Okay. Now, I'm going to put this on, and there's arrows that you line up, and then you just turn it, and it's on. Now, I've got it on my largest burner, and what I'm going to do is this is not a lesson in pressure cooking, by the way. I mean, just remember that. So I'm going to bring this to a boil, and you'll see this little, I call it a lid or what you call it, but it's a little meter or rocker, whatever you call it. Well, I guess this is the rocker. Anyway, when the pressure builds up enough, or the steam builds up enough, this will pop up. And when that pops up, I will put on my little rocker here. We always called it a rocker. And I'll put it on there, and that will cause the pressure to come up on my pressure gauge. See there, the pressure gauge? And so I will let this go once it reaches pressure of about 11 pounds. I'm in the Midwest, so I don't have to really worry about altitude. When it comes to about 11 pounds, I will set my timer, and I will cook this chicken for about 30 minutes. Okay? All right, so now, beat the bush. If you happen to see this, I'm going to give him a link to this because he was wanting to know how to do it. So now you can, I've heard a lot of good things about the Instapots, which are like they're a type of pressure cooker, I guess. Or you can do this in a smaller pressure cooker, but I don't think a smaller pressure cooker would do me for this because, like I said, I've got almost 10 pounds of chicken. So, but stop and think about how cheap that is. That's under $4 for each 5-pound bag. So this is pretty doggone good. I think you'll be pleased with how it goes. All right, I'll come back when this gets up to pressure, and then I will show you where we're at that time, okay? All right, stick with me on this. I think that you will like it, okay? And I'll give you some pointers as we go. I'll give you some tidbits. That's not like a tad or a smidge. All right, we'll be back. All right, now I want you to see where we're at right now. We are, you see this little valve? I remembered it's called a valve. You see this little valve? The valve has come up, which means that there's starting to gain some pressure in there. So then the steam comes out of here, and so I put my little rocker on there. Put this back a little bit. Put my rocker on there, and now it's coming up to pressure. Can you see? Let me see if I can show you that. See the pressure gauge there? And right now we are at, oh, just under 5. Well, we're right at 5 pounds. But I want to get it to about 11 pounds, and then I'm going to set my timer, and then I'm going to cook it under pressure for 30 minutes. And at that point, I will show you what happens then. Now, remember, I'm just showing you the process I use. This is not a lesson. I repeat, it is not a lesson on how to use a pressure cooker. I'm just showing you how I cook this chicken. So if you have a pressure cooker or you want to use one, by all means do, but I want to caution you to make sure that you read carefully what a pressure cooker is all about, how it works, and what you need to do for safety purposes. They do have the electric pressure cookers that are really, I guess they're pretty foolproof, but I don't have one, so I have no experience with it. Okay? All right, so I'll be back, and I'll show you where we're at. Okay, I'm back. All right, my timer has gone off, and I'm going to move my pressure cooker over to this burner that is not hot, okay? I'm just going to move it off the heat, and I've turned my burner off. So I'm going to take this, and I'm going to just carefully bring it over here. There. Now then. Now the next thing I'm going to do is, I'm not going to open this until my valve, see my little valve there? Until the valve is flat, until it goes completely down. Then I can take my rocker off, and I can carefully remove my lid. And when that takes place, I will show you how I'm going to finish up this chicken and render the bone broth. Okay? Okay. Hang in there with me. I think you're going to like it. Okay, now then, you see that the valve is down. See it? It's down. That means I can take off the rocker. See? And no steam is coming out. Now that doesn't mean it's not hot. It is hot. It's still very hot. But I can take the lid off safely. So now I'm going to open the chicken, and come on here. Just going to open it up. And I'm going to lift up the lid, but I'm going to lift it away from me, okay? So that the steam escapes out the back, because I do not want to get a steam burn, right? Okay. There we go. It was still locked slightly. See that steam escaping off of there? I'm going to open it away from me. And See there how that works? Now, I'm going to set this over here, and I'm going to bring you a little closer so you can actually see what this looks like. Let me get a slotted spoon out, and then you can see what the chicken legs look like, because they're perfectly cooked. That's what we want. See them? And don't forget, I put those other chicken pieces in there, the bony pieces, to add a richness to the broth, because I happen to have those in their freezer. So look at that. Nicely done. And I'm going to be able to take off, I'll get a fork and I'll show you. I'm going to be able to take the chicken from the bones, which is my intention. Take the chicken from the bones and see there how nice that is? And that's what we're looking for, okay? Get a bowl here. Got my big bowl. Grab that chicken. See there? See how it comes right off? So all I'm going to have left, I'm going to put it in a bowl, let it cool down so I can handle it. And then I'm just going to remove the meat. And then everything else, including the skin and the bones and the gristle, are going to go back into the broth. And then, once I get that done, I'm going to cook this broth with all of the scraps, the bones, the gristle, the skin, for another 30 minutes. Because I'm going to enrich my broth and make bone broth. Okay? Alright, so I'll come back at some point and I will show you what it all looks like. Alright, hang in there. Alright, now you can see I have removed all of the meat from the leg bones. And that's quite a bit, isn't it? And I have, let me see here, I have done put the bones back into the broth, and I put the skin as well. I put the gristle. I have put everything back into the pot that is not usable meat. Okay? All right. And this is after 30 minutes of cooking on high pressure. Okay. So now I can divide this meat up, and probably what I'll do is I'll weigh it out and store it in freezer bags and mark the bags carefully for future use. Okay, now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this, I'm going to put my lid back on, and I am going to do the exact same thing. I'm going to bring it back up to heat. Get it up here. Bring it back up to heat. And going to do the same thing. Watch for the valve to come up, and then I can put my rocker on. Okay? Alright. And I'm going to bring it up to pressure. I will set my timer when it gets to pressure. I will set my timer on 30 minutes, and I will cook it for 30 minutes on high pressure and just repeat and do the exact same thing. Alright? Alright. So probably what I'll do is I will post a picture of the broth or the bone broth when it is done, just so you can see what it looks like. When this is done and I can open it safely, I will strain out, I will use a fine mesh strainer, and I will strain out the broth so that there's nothing left in there, just the pure broth. And I will probably store it in jars or store it in the freezer, somewhere where it will stay good until I'm ready to use it. Okay? All right. Hey, thanks for sticking with me on this. And like I said, I'll put a picture in at the end so that you can see exactly how much I got out of this. Okay? All right. I appreciate your time. And don't forget to subscribe, because you don't want to miss anything, do you? Okay. I'll talk to you later. And you just remember that little is much when God is in it. Okay. Bye. Okay, as a side note, I just want to show you something. This is 1 quart of the bone broth that I got out of my 10 pounds of chicken legs. And that amount rendered 6 quarts of bone broth. Now, this is why it's bone broth, and I'm going to dig in here and I'm going to show you. See, that's the chicken fat that's on the top, and that's good. I will at some point scrape that off, and I can use it in other cooking. But I want you to look at the gelatinous look and feel of this broth. Now, this is very, very rich. And it is rich in collagen. That's why it's gelatinous. That's from the bones breaking down. There's protein in this. It is very, very nutritious broth. When this is heated up, it becomes soup-like or broth-like. But now let's just take a look, just so you can kind of see how this looks. Now that's the fat that comes to the top. Look at that. That is some serious nutrition there. So I want you to see, for so little money, I not only have chicken that I can now eat and use in various dishes, I have 6 quarts of bone broth that can be used for all those health benefits. Now, I want you to check out online, if you get a chance, you check out online and you price bone broth that you purchase. I've seen it as much as $8 for a pint. This is a quart, and I have 6 quarts. Okay? And all of this for about $7, because my chicken legs were 79 cents a pound. So, very economical, very good. You get all of the good benefits. And who wouldn't want that? Okay? Just thought I'd show you that as a side note. Okay? All right. Keep that in mind, okay? All right.
Thank you for watching Simple Food, Simple Life. Please like, subscribe, and share. Be sure and follow the links to Beat the Bush YouTube channel down below. I think you'll like them.